Welcome to Mech Made Simple, in which I'll be teaching you from foreign textbooks the various concepts in mechanical. So, my first subject is engineering mechanics. So, in this lecture series, we'll be studying about engineering mechanics as it is stated in Beer and Johnson textbook. So the textbook that I'll be following will be Beer and Johnson, and the syllabus of the content will be as follows. So you can take a screenshot of this. This is the syllabus that is followed in most Indian universities. And guys, please tell me if you would like to hear this lecture series in Hindi and English or on both. So we'll start off by Unit 1. In Unit 1, the name of the Unit 1 is Statics of Particles and Rigid Bodies. Here, in this uh, unit, we'll be studying about equilibrium of particles, fundamental concepts and principles of engineering mechanics, tutorial on equilibrium of particles, forces on particles, and concurrent forces in a plane, coplanar forces vector, resolution of forces, tutorial on several concurrent forces, free body diagram, forces in a plane, tutorial on forces in a plane, forces in space, equilibrium of rigid bodies, Varignon's theorem, equivalent of force reduction of system of forces into single force and couple. Equilibrium of rigid bodies in two dimensions, equilibrium of two force body. So this is the syllabus for the Unit 1. So as I said, we'll be following Beer and Johnson book. I'll be showing you that. So this is the book, and I'll be teaching you from this. So first of all, what is mechanics? So what is mechanics? Mechanics is defined as the science that describes and predicts the conditions of rest or of motion of bodies under the action of forces. So let me write it down. Mechanics is defined as the science that describes and predicts the conditions of rest or of motion. The conditions of rest or motion of bodies under action of forces. Under the action of forces. So this is how a body will perform when a force is applied to it. That is mechanics. And mechanics is divided into two. Mechanics is divided into two branches. First is statics. In statics, so what is statics? Statics deals with bodies at rest. Statics is the study of bodies at rest when the bodies are not moving. That is statics. And dynamics when the bodies are moving and their analysis is done. That is called dynamics. So, what are the fundamental concepts? We'll move on to what are the fundamental concepts and principles of engineering mechanics. So, what we'll be dealing with in this subject are a few terminologies that we need to understand first. So, the very first one is space. What is space. So space is associated with the position of a point P. Space is associated with the position of a point P. Position of point P. So we all know the coordinate system has three axes in it, and that is x, y, and z. So wherever the point lies in space, that is called the position of point P. Suppose this is the point P. So this is lying in a space. So that is called a space. The second thing is time. So time, so time is defined as time is used to define an event. Time is defined is so is defined as time is defined as an event when time is used or we can say time is used to define an event. An event is taking place. So to define an event, we need to specify two things. It's where the event is taking place, that is the space, and time. At what time it is taking place, that is called time. And the third thing that we define in terminologies is mass. So mass is actually a fundamental property of a substance. It is, if I read this out, it says a force represents the action of one body on another. A force can be exerted by actual contact, like push, push or a pull, or a distance, as in case of gravitational magnetic forces. A force is characterized by its point of application. So mass is a characteristic property of a substance. Two bodies of the same mass will be attracted by the same way by Earth. The fourth thing that we need to define is force. So force, what is a force? Force is represents the action of one body on another. Force can be exerted by actual contact like push or pull, or at a distance, as in case of gravitational or magnetic force. Force is characterized by its point of application, magnitude, and its direction. A force represents a vector. So, what is a force? Force is the act of pushing or pulling an object. Suppose a man pushes a truck in this direction. So, the man is applying a force on the truck. Now, we need to understand what is a particle and what is a rigid body. So, particle is a very small amount of matter. What is a particle? Particle is a very small amount of matter. And what is a rigid body? Rigid body is simply a collection of particles.